It's Mike Farrell, Rivals.com, here with James Franklin, Penn State head football coach, finishing out another recruiting year, which is what I think both of our 150th recruiting years, it feels like. Small class for you, but a good finish. I don't know if you got the letter yet, but can we talk about your defensive end from Minnesota yet?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so that was that's an interesting one to me because he's such a raw athlete, basketball player, real good upside. Does he remind you of anybody?
Yeah, I sent you, actually, you may want to look at him later. I sent you some basketball highlights on a number of guys that we signed in this class. This was a big get for us. Defensive end was a major, position of need. And you're talking about a guy that I think the recruiting services have listed at 6'6", 220, but he's actually 6'6", 250 right now.
Yeah, we just updated that to 250. Yep.
Yeah, he's only played 2 years of football. I know you are a big fan of this, just like I am, but I love guys that play multiple sports, specifically basketball players for athletic type positions. And then for the big athletes, I love wrestlers, but I love guys that play multiple sports. He had some, Division I offers in basketball, but they were lower level. And we just thought this was a guy with a huge upside. Didn't love the recruiting process. He didn't communicate great with anybody. And we just kind of stayed on him. So we're really excited. I think he's got a chance. I think of Carl Nassib, who was an All-American for us and played in the NFL, was 6'7", 270 pounds. I think he's going to be able to carry that type of weight. I think of Etor Gross-Matos, who was a long, athletic, developmental type defensive end who, is obviously doing really well now with the Carolina Panthers. So I kind of think he fits a mold of a defensive end with length and athleticism that we've had success with.
How about Derek Harvey?
Well, I don't want you to bring up Derek Harvey because I was the recruiting coordinator at the University of Maryland, and he went to the University of Florida and had a good career. But yeah, I think there's some similarities. I think Devon's a lot bigger. Derek, I think if I remember out of high school, was more 6'4", more in the 220 range, and that was at this stage of the game. But there's some unique qualities there that are similar.
Yeah, I love the basketball guys. I do love the basketball guys that transitioned later. Obviously at Maryland, you had an offensive tackle that was tremendous as well. That was a basketball guy too. So it seems to happen more so in that state than it does in Minnesota, but this is a great get down the stretch for you. And then, your class is well balanced, but it's a defensive class more than anything else. So I'm going to start on offense real quick and then we'll move to defense. Let's start with Christian Valu, your quarterback, the Canadian transplant to Maryland. What do you like about him? And where do you see him fitting in down the line?
Well, I have a little bit different of a perspective now, Mike, on some of these guys because he was an early enrollee. So I've actually been able to watch him in the weight room and work out. He's a lot more athletic. I knew he was athletic, but he's probably more athletic than I realized. He's 6'4". He's 197 pounds right now. He's already put on about 5 pounds since being here. Watching him, in the weight room and some of the running stuff, he's tested really well. I think he's got a chance to be, to me, what everybody's looking for now at the quarterback position, which is a guy that can obviously make the throws, but also has the ability to create and extend plays as well. I know when he went to the Elite 11, the first day, my phone was blowing up that he killed it. But then when he got to all the other stuff that the quarterbacks that have been training with high, level quarterback gurus, all the off balance throws and all that kind of stuff was all new to him. And he didn't do as well in those. But I think he's got a very, very bright future. And we're excited about what we've been able to see so far from him.
I like the wide receiver class. Obviously you got Clifford's brother, Liam. But let's talk about Lonnie White Jr. He was a guy that, we had way underrated early. And then COVID hit and no one was able to see him. And, we had to go back and look at the film and just correct an incorrect evaluation on him because he's a dynamic player. Big receiver. I mean, is that what he's going to play?
Yeah, we think he's going to be a wide out for sure. I'm going to be honest with you, Mike. We were the same way. We didn't offer him early on. And, I went to college with his parents. Both his parents played basketball, were athletes at East Stroudsburg with me. So I've known the family for a long time. And we weren't sure what he was going to be. He played quarterback the year before in high school. You're trying to kind of figure it out. But he's a big kid. Really, I thought made a huge jump this year in how he played. We took him, kind of like you, without seeing some of those things. The high school coach was a big part of it, kept reaching out to me, feeling very strongly about him. And we jumped in and had a dominant senior year. And, some people are saying, he's got a chance to be a first round draft choice in baseball, which I'm torn on that. I want it for him. I also want to see him on campus too. And he'll probably play both here.
Yeah. I mean, that baseball money is always a problem. Defensively, talk to me about the state of Michigan. You got 4 guys from the state of Michigan on your defensive. Is it 4? It could be more. It really hits Michigan very well this season, especially for defensive players. So is that targeted, just happens, or what's going on?
Yeah, so a couple things. If you really look back, KJ Hamler, you look at, our history over the last, 4 or 5 years, we've done a pretty good job in Michigan. Probably never 4 in 1 year. And we got Jamari Budden and Kalen King and Kobe King, as well as Jalen Reed. And, we probably never had that many in one class, but we've gotten 2 or 3 high-level guys a year. And there's a history of that with Penn State. Tim Banks is my co-defensive coordinator and secondary coach. He's from Detroit. He went to Martin Luther King High School, so he's very well respected and connected in the state. That helped as well. And you know how it is, Mike. You get a couple kids early on, and they're popular and they're well thought of and they're respected among their peers, and it creates some momentum for you. And we were on some other high level guys that we came up maybe just short on, but we're really pleased with the class that we were able to get out of there.
And back to offense, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about my guy Langdon Tengwall, because he goes to Good Counsel. Everybody knows I've covered Good Counsel since I was like 10 years old. Really strong physical kid. Does he have the opportunity to play early as a freshman?
Yeah, I think so. As you know, if you've been covering Landon has looked like this since he was in like 8th grade. He's been coming to camp here since an 8th grader. He was a guy that we felt really early on that we were going to get. He'd been unbelievable with us the whole time, came to camp every single year from 8th grade. He's looks like a junior in college already. He showed up here at 6'6", 321 pounds with very little fat on him. He's already in the weight room, trained at a high level. His footwork and fundamentals are really good. So we're very excited about him and think just from a maturity standpoint and the way he is prepared, he's going to have a chance. Obviously, graduating as an early enrollee helps as well. I will tell you this, the one that's going to be really interesting to watch is Nate Bruce. Nate, we had in camp a year ago. I know this sounds strange, but standing next to Landon, he makes Landon look small. Nate showed up at 344 pounds with very little fat on him. He's massive anywhere. He's massive everywhere. He tested extremely well with these guys when they showed up on campus. And we got him kind of partnered with Landon because Landon really knows how to work. And if Nate will figure that out, we think he has really high upside. He reminds me of the guards that we saw, when I was in the SEC.
And I'm going to give a little bit of love to Connecticut here for Jeffrey Davis. I know he's on campus, and he's a kid who plays Kingswood Oxford, doesn't play great competition, obviously. So he's a tough evaluation. But you're already seeing good things from him, I would imagine. And we had him as a 3-star. He could prove us wrong.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. We've had him in camp, and that was important for us because the level of competition in camp, he could match up with some guys in one-on-ones. The 6-foot defensive backs are hard to find. And then again, here's a guy that, sent me some video of dunking in his backyard, which I thought was really impressive. So the combination of what he did in high school, We love guys that play both sides of the ball, and some people were recruiting him as a wide receiver as well. You know, watching him on the basketball court, the type of explosion he's had, and that he's already on campus as well. We feel really good about not only what Jeffrey Davis is going to be able to do, but Kalen King. Those two guys, we're really excited about what they've shown already on campus, and both we think are going to have a chance to compete, whether it's corner or possibly our nickel.
Do you hear my dog in the background?
A little bit, but that's okay.
Okay, so he hates the mailman, and it's COVID, so what am I going to do? But he's got that fierceness that you might want to scout because he's really, really aggressive. So
I like that.
I'm going to finish with the transfer portal.
Is it like a Shih Tzu? Really, really intimidating little teeny dogs you put like in your handbag and walk around with?
You know me, man. Of course, he's a emotional support dog. He's about that. No, he's a half pit, half something else. Swiss Mountain Dog.
All right, that's fair.
He's just nuts. He's just nuts. So of course the mailman comes while I'm interviewing you, and he's trying to go through the window, and all he wants to do is say hi to the mailman. It's just whatever, but it's embarrassing. But
it's all right.
I digress. I've known you forever. Nothing embarrasses me anymore. Transfer portal. How does it change your strategy in recruiting? You know, losing guys, getting guys. What's it doing to your roster management?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think there's going to have to be some rules that are changed. You look at these schools that maybe have coaching changes and there's no rules. I mean, you could literally have 30 guys transfer, and then, based on the hard cap, you wouldn't be able to replace them all. So I think some rules are going to have to change for people to have a chance to manage their roster. But it's interesting. I saw, I was talking with my athletic director today, and she was talking about a study that just came out from the NCAA that I think 24% of the young men that enter the transfer portal either don't sign anywhere or have to go down a level to what they used to call the 1AA or FCS. So it's going to be interesting how it levels out over time. For us, I kind of look at it maybe like some programs in the old days looked at it, junior college recruiting, where you would use it to solve some problems where, maybe you got an immediate need that you need some guys to come in and be able to help you with. And that may be because of holes that opened on your roster from the transfer portal, or guys that have left early for the NFL that you weren't anticipating, or maybe a year where you came up short at a position in recruiting. So that's kind of how we look at it. Although I still consider myself a fairly young ball coach, that's changing by the day, Mike. It was actually my birthday yesterday.
Mine too.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm still a little old school in my mentality. I think it's the right thing to do for kids to have, some more freedom in this process. But I also am a little old school from the standpoint, I worry about when times get tough. One of the things that college athletics, I think, really still served our country in is really teaching guys how to overcome adversity. And I worry now that we've just made an easy way out. I worry about that. And then I also worry, I don't hear anybody talking about education anymore. Like, there's nobody transferring for educational reasons. It's all strictly football. So, I want to make sure that we're just having really healthy, honest conversations about this, hearing the student athletes' perspectives, the commissioners, the ADs, coaches. Because I think a lot of times what happens, Mike, we've all seen it, right? Is on the front end, you had coaches that were abusing it by saying kids couldn't transfer to all these schools, and they were abusing it.
Yep. Now
we overcorrect and we go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And, it's going to be interesting to see how it all works out. I'm a big believer in college football. I'm a big believer in what, the education process is able to do for young people and their families. And just want to make sure that we're taking all those things under consideration.
Yeah. So we've got recruitment, and then you've got de-recruitment, which is, wiping those stars away when they show up. And now you've got re-recruitment. So you have to recruit your own roster multiple times. And that's kind of, I guess, the new reality.
Well, I've really changed this past year, and I think this was probably for a lot of programs, where you kind of got into this situation where, there was a little bit of, I don't know if fear is the right word, or concern about the transfer portal. And I think it changed the way maybe people coached. It changed the way people handled, tough conversations that I think are important. And I'm not doing it. If guys want to be here, we want them here. This is a special place. We've done some great things. And, if guys feel like there's another option out there for them, it is better. I'm also going to have this conversation a little bit in the recruiting process as well. If you're a guy that, when times get tough, you're going to look to look for the easier path, or the path of least resistance. And this probably isn't the right place for you, because let's be honest, that's when the most growth occurs, is when you're fighting through adversity and have to overcome it. So, for us, we're not going to worry about it a whole lot, and not doing a whole lot of recruitment of our own rosters. If guys want to go to the transfer portal, we're not going to be in the business of talking them out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, off to a great start in 2022 as well. Obviously, we can't talk about those kids yet, but small Penn State class won't be ranked as high as you're used to for Penn State because of the small numbers. We rank the top 20. They've got 16 right now signed that I'm aware of. So quality over quantity this year, bigger class next year, off to a great start. Follow Blue and White Illustrated for more on Penn State. Follow rivals.com. Follow James Franklin everywhere he goes, because that's the head coach's job, is to be stalked by weirdos, right?
No doubt, Mike. Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think there's only one other class that had as few commits as we did, I think, in the top 25 or so. So it does factor in, but we appreciate how you do your business, Mike, and wish you the best.
I appreciate it. That's why I wanted to point it out, because people just look at the number. There's an average star ranking as well. And again, you took a kicker, which lowers that average star ranking as well. So
you guys hate kickers.
I hate kickers. I hate them. I don't know how you deal with them. Listen, they're nice people. I can't stand them.
Everybody, no one cares about the kicker until you don't have one.
Correct. But then when you fight 59 minutes and 40 seconds of football and you're all bloody, and then the kicker, jumps out there in his white little uniform and misses a field goal to lose the game, that drives me nuts. So I love it when
that's why you recruit them, so they don't go out and miss.
Well, true. And you've got one who is a local kid, right?
Yeah.
We'll see if he misses or doesn't. I'm just not a big kicker guy.
God, I mean, can we get some good mojo going at my kicker, please?
He got 3 stars.
No, I'm just saying, you're like, well, we'll see if he misses or not. Come on, Joe, let's go.
Oh, I hear you. Well, that's, at least I'm not saying he never misses, because then he'll miss, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like that commercial.
Justin Tucker in the playoffs with the Ravens. Yeah. I mean, they kept screwing him. So I'm just going to say kickers are not my favorite people, but you got a kicker in this class you like, lowers your star ranking a little bit. Small class, but 2022 already really ticking off some other people, because you've gotten some really good kids. So I appreciate your time as always. We'll pump this out. We will pump up Penn State football, and we'll pump up your kicker too.
Thanks. Appreciate it, brother. Have a great day.